Welcome to DC2B Revolution, helping chiropractic students think big in order to live large. I'm your host, Noah Volz, and today I'm here with the creative team behind Chiro MatchMakers, Dr. Miner and Dr. Stephen Franson. They have a mission of matching the right DC with the right opportunity. I know all the students where I'm at, as a second year student, I really want to find the best opportunity for themselves. So I'm so glad they're on today. Thank you guys for being here.
Thanks for having us, Noah.
Yeah, I'll just note that we just have Dr. Stephen's audio. He's going to come in if he wants to talk. He got hit with the ransomware virus. So Dr. Allen, I'm glad that we can see your face. The first question I wanted to start with are your backgrounds. What puts you in the unique position in order to offer what Chiro MatchMakers is offering?
I'll take it away. Been in practice for 15 years, Noah. I've run 6 clinics and had a couple dozen associate doctors. And my story is I did it wrong for a long time. And, I was fortunate to have built a successful practice. That doesn't immediately translate into being a successful CEO or leader of a company. So I had a lot of pain how to be a good owner of a chiropractic clinic and how to create good jobs and environments where everybody was in a win-win scenario. And really my pain of that experience is help other chiropractors, and then eventually now really we think we can change the profession by helping associate doctors if we see ourselves as talent agents for chiropractors. So if we can help people understand themselves better, and help them identify and connect them to the job that best suits their dreams, desires, goals, and how they're made and how they're hardwired, then we find we have a really great win-win situation for the profession.
Yeah, completely. I know for myself, at least, like most of the students I talk to want an associate position. There's only, I'd say maybe 1 to 5% of the student body who really wants to be an entrepreneur, wants to own their own thing, wants to launch in that way. So I think the service that you are offering is so important. What is the problem that you identify that you're really trying to solve with Chiro MatchMakers?
Great question. Dr. Franson, are you back?
I hope I am. Can you guys hear me all right?
We got you.
Yes,
why don't you take that one?
Yeah, I'm not going to let some little virus interfere with us being able to reach these docs and help them find their ideal team and their ideal jobs. No, I was admittedly fussing with my headset and my microphone. I apologize. Would you mind reframing that question for me so I can tee it up?
Yeah, no problem. So the question is about the problem that you're trying to solve. I mean, every service, every product on the market is really focused towards solving a certain problem. And Chiro MatchMakers is uniquely in this place to solve a problem that you guys identified. So I'm wondering what that problem is and how you are planning to solve it.
Yeah, I think that's a great question. At the end of the day, everybody wants the same thing. Everybody wants to find themselves in a place where every day they get out of bed excited about being able to do their best work and serving their purpose, and to be able to be recognized for the contributions that they're making to a team, to feel the fulfillment that comes with getting great results with people because they get to do their best work and be in, rubbing shoulders with people that inspire them and to call out their best and maybe even raise them up and train them to be the best people that they can be. They want to be able to provide for their families. They want to be able to work through their days inspired, and then to be able to look over their shoulder at their career and know that they've just really made a huge contribution. So, unfortunately, that is not the story that a lot of chiropractors get to tell, and definitely not the story that a lot of chiropractic associate doctors get to tell. And I think that that's a travesty. I think that's a shame. I think that that's something that we need to address. Here are my thoughts on the associate doctor relationship and the associate doctor arrangement, if you will. I think that it's potentially the best thing for chiropractic today if it's set up properly and a doctor finds the right environment to work in, or it could potentially be the worst thing for chiropractic in that, there's an environment right now that is ripe for things going sideways for the associate doctor. In other words, there's a lot of docs that are coming out of school and they've got huge student loans. They need to find a job immediately because, frankly, because of their financial situation, they're not bankable. So the dream that Alan and I realized coming out of school right away was we could open up a practice. We could get funding. We get a bank to come alongside us and say, hey, we trust that you're going to be a successful business. How much do you need? That environment has changed dramatically. So I feel like these docs, talking specifically about students coming out of school, they're coming into an environment that's really challenging, and it's a new type of challenge. It's something that our profession hasn't really faced in the past, but it is without a doubt the situation that students or new graduates are facing today. I think it leaves them susceptible to misstepping. So, as experts in this space, Dr. Allen and I, what we're doing is we're bringing, number one, an awareness to the young doctor graduating and going out into the field, what their options are, what's available out there. We're also helping them identify who they are as an individual and making sure that they can really establish clarity around what it is they're looking for. That'll help them get that sense of fulfillment so that they know what their ideal job looks like. And number three, to matchmake. In other words, introduce them to these right opportunities that aren't just guesswork. It's science. You can actually tell a lot about a person and how they're going to behave and how they're going to operate just through specific testing and an objective assessment, as well as subjective assessment. And just talking with these doctors and knowing who they are, you can actually point them in the right direction. In fact, introduce them to the right opportunity. So yeah, it's sort of a three-part answer, but that's what we're doing in Chiro Matchmakers.
Yeah, I love that. And I really wanted to just reiterate what you said. I feel like we are in a very unique position in chiropractic right now. I mean, a lot of the students I've talked to, a lot of the faculty, a lot of the other doctors that I've talked to, I feel like there's an unprecedented amount of debt that students are currently in. And even the mindset of students is very different. Dr. Franson, as you mentioned, many students are coming out of school wanting to do something that makes them feel fulfilled, wanting a career that has meaning and where they feel like they're really making a difference. And if that associate position isn't set up correctly, they're not going to feel that. They're not going to stick around. They're going to have a really hard time doing that. I wondered if either one of you could kind of drill down slightly into these objective and subjective measures you're talking about, because I feel like that's what really makes your system unique. There's plenty of classified job boards on the different school websites. There's plenty of ways to find associate positions, but you guys are really providing a framework that's quite unique. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure, I'll grab that, Noah. We laughed when we looked at the marketplace and having had to find associates at certain times. Finding an associate doctor, and really any job today, feels like what I think dating was probably like in the 80s, when you took out a job ad that said man seeking woman and you hope somebody responded. And that's actually still what happens on job boards, right? Hey, looking for whatever. And so we realized, boy, there's technology now that eHarmony and Match.com are using. What if we could figure that out and apply that to what we're doing? And so we use, it sounds fancy, it's not, but some behavioral algorithms that look at basic cornerstone human behavioral traits. And we use that information to help pair people up together. Because there's a lot of, we've talked already, we've kind of many variables. For instance, let's say somebody wants to come out and they know that their goal is to be in a practice on their own, but they really want to be prudent and learn the ropes and be mentored by somebody. Well, there's even that category of person, there's shades of how long somebody will have the patience to stay and be mentored. Will they be teachable and coachable? What kind of person would be best paired with them to coach them and mentor them? And that's the issue we see in chiropractic, is so often has one thing in mind, the owning doctor has something different in mind, and those people don't clearly define and talk about that, and all of a sudden you get in a situation, and 6 months down the road, neither party's happy because this isn't what they thought they were agreeing to. And so it's so important that we really clearly define what's the expectation and what are the agreements, what's the time limit, what's the exit strategy in this relationship, what are we moving towards here? And then, of course, is both party, best suited for each other for that arrangement. And that's really, at the end of the day, we can tell a lot of that based on how a person's built.
Yeah, I think that's so important that you kind of frame that as this trinity. I think most people think of the relationship as the associate and the doctor owner providing the position, but there's also the agreement that creates kind of this trinity that each one of those pieces needs to be in play in order for that relationship to really work, and each person has to have this deeper understanding. As my audience is primarily students, I wonder if either one of you could kind of talk about the biggest mistakes that students make when they graduated from school, they want an associate position, they're going out there, they're getting interviews, they're trying to figure out where they are in the system. What are the big mistakes that you see students making?
I'll start with this, Alan, and then you can fill in any gaps that I leave if you could.
Sure.
So, no, another great question. By the way, you're a fantastic interview. I just want to recognize you for that.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
We do a lot of these, and you just really, you respond well and you ask great questions. You can prepare the questions, but you can't prepare the responses. So I just want to recognize you for that. First things that we see are, number one, students while they're in school, and this is going to sound crazy to say it, they stay focused on school. It's head down. Let me see if I can get straight A's. Let me pass boards, and then I'll think about my career. I really think that is a real misstep. Of course, you should stay focused on school and get great grades, but you have got to get your mind thinking down the road, because while you're in school, you have a very unique opportunity, which you'll never have again, to be able to invest in yourself and developing your skills, whether it's clinical skills in a technique club, or the speaking skills and getting involved with like a Talk the Tick program, or working for another doctor in the field and working as an intern, or working for a spinal screening team, what have you. You know what I'm saying? It's like get engaged and get involved and thinking about your career. Start training and studying in different systems and start tasting some of the different practice management offerings that are out there. So really thinking about your career down the road, because what that's going to do is it's going to fine tune your lens so you'll know exactly what you resonate with. Like, what are you looking for in a career? Because there's a very broad spectrum out there for students to consider. Everything from what kind of chiropractor do you want to be? In other words, are you going to be subluxation based or non-subluxation based? What resonates with you? What direction are you going to go in? Do you want to do corrective care? Are you interested in doing wellness care? Or are you more on the treatment side of things, right? Crisis care. Do you want to take care of children? Are you into pediatrics and pregnancy care, or sports medicine type chiropractic care? It's just like what really floats your boat. Are you going to bring other ancillary services in, and are you going to do functional medicine alongside of the chiropractic, or are you going to have other professionals? I'm not promoting any of these things. I'm just saying you should know for yourself, what does success look like for you? Get a real taste for what's out there so you can really start to steer and direct your career. That's the first one.
Stephen, let me color commentate you there. The problem then is not problem, but the opportunity is just in one of those categories. Stephen said there's 20 different offices doing any one of those categories 20 different ways. And you need to expose yourself to that when you're in school. And I liked what you said. I forget your language, when we were talking before. You're a connoisseur, I think you said, of different chiropractic stuff. I think that's one of the mistakes chiropractors do in school, is they will pick one thing and stay in that groove their entire education, be it a practice management group, a technique. And what better time to expose yourself to everything that our brilliant profession has to offer. And so I always advise students, keep your mind open, go see what all's out there. And when you start to get a sense of which lane you're going to take, go see the 20 different versions of that lane. And it's just going to help you to make connections, and it's going to help you to steer and figure out, where you want your career to go.
That's right. That's right. Thank you for that, Alan. And then I think the second misstep would be not taking advantage of all the mentors you have at your feet. And while you're at school, you get to meet some of the best doctors that through their visits on campus, or you have the freedom while you don't have a practice to go and visit and spend time with mentors. And you really do want to start picking out mentors for each skill set that you want to develop as a practitioner, whether it's your clinical skill sets, or it's your team building and leadership skill sets, or it's your speaking skill sets, or patient education, et cetera, the financial and business acumen. You should have role models for each one of those, and you should really get out there and discover those role models and spend time with those people, because you'll never have an opportunity like that like you do while you're in school. Even though you're broke, go and sleep on the couches, right? So just go and get it done. That's where a lot of our success came from, is we had great mentors that shaped us from the beginning. And I think the third and most common misstep is that people will take a job for a paycheck. And that's a terrible way to approach it, right? So you want to be able to come out of school and say, what's the long game here? Am I going to do an internship just to learn? Am I going to do an associateship for the long view? Am I going to try to find a situation where I could do like a plant to partner, or a plant to purchase, or an associate doctor where you're doing a takeover for a doctor and taking over their practice? There's so many different models and exits out there, like Dr. Allen was mentioning. You want to know what's out there, so you put yourself in the right scenario to do the right thing, not just to get a paycheck, not just to get a job. And the last and final thing I'll say is people choose to take a job or a practice because they think that they can go to an area where they're going to be more likely to be successful. I disagree with that all day long. I do think that there's some places you could put yourself where it's going to be harder to be successful, but you know what? Some of the biggest practices in the world are in the middle of nowhere, right? So I say practice where you'd love to live. Like, where will you be happy? Where will you have joy? Where do you want to raise a family? Where do you want to spend your time, right? So think about that first, and then start looking for opportunities around there. So don't feel as though it's like one city or one town or one place is necessarily out of consideration because you want to go to where you think you can make a good living. It's chiropractic, man. The whole world is your oyster, so to speak. Alan, I'll let you take it from there.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Franson. I love the way that you frame this conversation, because I feel like as a student, the questions that I get asked, the kind of the influence is, where are you going to practice and what are you going to practice? Those are the two questions it seems like everybody asks you as a student. But really, you're shifting the conversation to what are the skills that you're trying to develop in school, and who are your mentors? And in shifting that conversation, it gives me as a student this ability to be more engaged, more proactive about developing those skills, so that when I come out of school, I have these really clearly defined skills of how I'm good at negotiation, I'm good at interviewing, I'm good at communication, I'm good at adjusting, whatever those skills that I'm trying to develop are, as opposed to I know this one technique and I want to go to this location. So I really like how you kind of reframed that conversation. I wonder if you could talk a little bit about how Chiro MatchMakers really helps students either find those skills or develop those skills, or leverage those skills so that they can really end up in the place that helps them to dive deep into that skill set that they really want to develop.
Easy answer, no, we don't. We don't. Really where we come on is when somebody has a license in hand, now we can go to work for them. And then the question is, what skill sets have you developed? We want to learn about this person, their goals and dreams and vision for themselves and their lives. And then we want to help them find that opportunity. But the work really, we come in with the final person, and that's probably the biggest challenge for us with students, new graduates, is there is a stigma. And I want to talk to the students about this. I want them to understand this. A lot of times students, where their expectations are, there's a gap to what's happening in the field. And I think that's why when students are out interning and meeting practice owners, visiting different technique practices, they start to see the reality of what practices are, and so that there's not any discrepancy. There's also the most difficult thing to develop in chiropractic, in my opinion, that I hear feedback from owners most commonly, is simply a good set of hands. It's bedside manner. really know that there's coaching programs and techniques that at the end of the day teach the nuances of simply getting your hands on people. And so that then is the importance of student clinic while you're in school and taking full advantage of that. And I'm a huge fan of the mission trips that are available to chiropractors because, again, they oftentimes give you, and I know there's legalities to that, which sometimes the schools shy away from, but what better opportunity to get your hands on people and start to learn and just build that experience. And that's our biggest challenge when dealing with students and new graduates who have a license in hand is, do you understand, what have you seen? What have you done? How clear is your vision for your path in your life? And if people don't know, it's harder for us to go to work for them. If they really clearly have seen a lot of things and know what they want to build and how they want to develop their career, well, now it becomes very easy for us. And, in chiropractic, what's the interview process? Lie down and adjust me. I mean, that is step one. And so the better you are at that, the more you can practice while you're in school through any avenue possible. That's going to translate into your ability to, go the path you want, adjusting the way that you want in the office you want.
Yeah, and if I could get on the heels of that answer as well, Noah, Dr. Allen and I consider ourselves much like a sports agent. So we call ourselves the agents, right? So you'll see us everywhere, hashtag the agents, right? Because that's ultimately how we feel about the role that we play on behalf of the associate doctor looking to be hired. At the end of the day, two sides of the equation. There's the owner's side and then there's the talent side, right? So you guys are the talent. You're the talent that are looking to be hired by a chiropractor. And we represent you just like a sports agent would represent the athlete, okay? And the sports agent, they're going to know that athlete. They're going to know their strengths. They're going to know their desires, their aspirations. They're going to know the things that they are not interested in and maybe help direct them and encourage them and even give them direction as to how they should develop themselves as athletes. We feel the same way with us as working with the talent, to be able to come alongside you and say, we are your champion and we're going to be looking out for you. We have your best interest in heart. And really the cool thing we've built, the way we've designed our business model is the money is in the owner's side. They're the ones that are going to pay the bill. But the value is in the talent side, and we recognize that you guys are the value. You guys are the talent, so we represent you guys, and we make sure that we put you in the best position because ultimately your success is our success. Because if you succeed, the owner wins, you win, and therefore we win. If we put you in a position where you are not flourishing and successful, it's stressful, it's strained, it's painful for you, for the owner, and definitely for us. So it's just one of those just beautiful true win-win-win arrangements. We're your agent.
However, Noah, perfectly said, this is where having an understanding of yourself helps. Because let's use a football analogy. If somebody who's 160 pounds comes on the field and their dream is to be an offensive lineman, it doesn't match. They might be built for a different position on the field. So the more that somebody can cultivate their skill set, their understanding of who they are, obviously then if somebody comes to us and says, yeah, I think I'm going to be the best offensive lineman in the world, and we're going, well, those guys are usually 300 pounds and you weigh half that, there's a disconnect. But if the person says, I'm going to be the best quarterback in the world or the best wide receiver, and they've got the pedigree and the history that flows into that, obviously it's a lot easier for us to represent and find them a home. We're out there selling you, working for you guys, and the more you give us to work with, the easier it is for us to work for you guys, definitely.
Yeah, perfectly put. I think, knowing who you are as an individual is the first step, like Stephen Covey, begin with the end in mind. If you really understand where it is that you want to be, what the type of practice it is that you want to be in, then it's much easier for, you guys and any organization like you to kind of help funnel you in the right direction and help advocate for you. And I think that's what is so important about what you're doing is that in the past, the talent hasn't had advocates like you're creating. And in doing that, Dr. Stephen, you mentioned like a win-win-win for the talent, for the office, and for Chiro MatchMakers, but it's a win for the entire profession.
That's
if
exactly
students
right.
are coming out of school and actually landing the type of job that they want, earning the kind of income that they want, doing the type of work that they want to do, then chiropractic wins, because then people are going to chiropractors that are passionate, they're involved, they're engaged, they're excited to be there, and they're offering the best quality care they can possibly offer. So,
and by the way, that's a fun job, right? I mean, that's the win-win, which is what it should be, instead of somebody stuck sludging, doing stuff that they don't want to do. The classic I've got to address before we have to wrap it up, Noah. Marketing is an interesting one in chiropractic, because so many owners want help growing the practice, so they look for an associate to do that. So many talent students that don't want to go market, they want to be clinicians. And that's one of the first things we look at is, where is there a gap here? And we don't bring those people together. You know, if somebody's really focused on being a clinician, we need to find them a job where that's what they get to do. If somebody has the skill set to go do public speaking or practice, then oftentimes those people will prefer being paid on a commission basis rather than a salary, and there's not as much of a ceiling. So it's our job to bring those right groups together. But that's maybe the biggest one we see is, you know, there's a stigma almost now. Well, I don't want to have to go market and grow that practice. And we respect that with the talent. If somebody's not looking to market, we have jobs available, many of them, where that's not the job. It's to be a true clinician. So you need to know yourself.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up, because I have many friends who are in that exact position, who were hired as associates, expected to do all the marketing for the practice, and that's not their skill set. That's not what they're good at. That's not what they enjoy doing. They want to be clinicians. They want to focus on being better at adjusting. And so there's just this real mismatch, and it makes it really challenging for both parties to get exactly what they want out of their arrangement.
Which is not what Stephen just described, which is fun, right? I mean, it should be fun. And if everybody is on the same page, it is.
Yeah, exactly. And so I know a lot of students, you know, recent graduates are going to want to experience that level of practice where they're really, where it's really meaningful, fulfilled. They're working for a doctor that they love being around. So where can people get in touch with you? How can chiropractors or recent graduates learn more about what you're doing and reach out?
Sure. It's very easy. ChiroMatchmakers.com. Or over on Facebook, you can find us there too, Chiro Matchmakers. It's Dr. Franson and myself, Alan Miner. We have all the Instagrams and Facebooks and social media accounts and everything else. You can find us through a quick Google search too. But Chiro Matchmakers is the website that leads you into the services we provide that we talked about here today.
Perfect. So that's the perfect place to start the funnel. Thank you guys for being here. Really appreciate everything that you're doing to help chiropractic students. Appreciate you being a part of the DC to B revolution, where we're helping chiropractic students think big to live large. Thanks once again.
Thank you, Noah. Fantastic, man.
Well done. Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. So if you like this video, let us know, subscribe to the channel, leave some comments below. This is a really powerful conversation. So I'd love to hear from the students, the associates, about their experience, and let's see how we can make chiropractic better together.